Vikings, let's win this game.
Vikings fans, training camp is already giving us some important answers about this roster. Kevin O'Connell just delivered a key update on defensive tackle Caleb Banks, but now we're also getting new information about a possible veteran addition to the defensive line. And Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson are revealing what they've been seeing from both quarterbacks behind the scenes. There's a lot to break down today, so let's get into it. The Vikings took a calculated risk when they selected Caleb Banks with the 18th overall pick in April, and that decision may already be starting to pay off. Banks possessed the talent and physical traits of a potential top 10 selection, but multiple injuries created enough concern for him to fall into Minnesota's hands. He was already attempting to work his way back when he suffered another foot injury at the NFL Combine, leaving the Vikings with no choice but to take an extremely patient approach throughout the offseason. Now, Kevin O'Connell has finally delivered the update Vikings fans wanted to hear. According to O'Connell, Banks is fully cleared and participating without restrictions. That doesn't mean Minnesota is immediately going to overload him with snaps, however. The coaching staff understands that Banks hasn't played meaningful football in quite some time, so his workload is being increased gradually. O'Connell explained that Banks will continue receiving more repetitions, but the Vikings are being very purposeful about when those reps happen, especially because the rookie is already spending significant time with the first-team defense. Minnesota will monitor consecutive practice days, playing surfaces, and the total amount of work Banks receives. The goal is to have him prepared for preseason action without creating an unnecessary setback. That caution is completely understandable. Banks was drafted to become a disruptive force in the middle of this defense for years, not simply to win a few practices in July or August. What should excite Vikings fans is that he isn't being hidden with the second or third unit. Brian Flores and the defensive staff are already putting him alongside the starters, which indicates they believe he can contribute immediately. Banks has also begun developing chemistry with fellow rookie Dominique Orange. That combination could give Minnesota something it desperately needs: young, powerful, and explosive interior defenders, capable of collapsing the pocket instead of allowing quarterbacks to comfortably step forward. Banks has the size and athletic ability to become a matchup problem, but staying healthy will determine how quickly that potential becomes production. So far, everything appears to be moving in the right direction. The Vikings gambled on elite talent despite the medical concerns, and a fully healthy Banks working with the first-team defense is the first real sign that their gamble could deliver a massive return. Quick favor: subscribe to the channel and join the discussion in the comments. The fans' opinions really matter here. Unfortunately, the news involving Minnesota's search for additional edge-rushing help is far less encouraging. Trading Jonathan Greenard created the opportunity Vikings fans had been waiting for Dallas Turner to receive. Turner will finally be treated like a full-time starter and given the responsibility to become one of the primary weapons in this pass rush. But promoting Turner also creates another problem, because someone must replace the role he previously occupied in the rotation. Minnesota has experimented with Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins on the edge, but relying on an unproven internal option would carry considerable risk. That is why Jadeveon Clowney has remained such an intriguing name. The 33-year-old is a former second-team All-Pro and three-time Pro Bowler who can still create pressure. There is also an organizational connection through Nolan Teasley, who served as Seattle's director of pro personnel when the Seahawks traded for Clowney in 2019. On paper, the fit makes sense. The problem is that Minnesota may now be losing ground in the competition to sign him. NFL insider Jordan Schultz reported that Clowney completed what was considered a successful visit with the Cleveland Browns. The two sides are expected to remain in contact, and an unidentified NFC West team is also reportedly showing serious interest. That does not officially eliminate the Vikings, but it certainly makes the path more complicated. Clowney proved last season in Dallas that he can still help a defense. Playing on a contract with a $3.5 million base salary and incentives that could push the value to $6 million, he finished with 8.5 sacks. He also earned a 79.2 overall grade from Pro Football Focus and an 80.6 pass rushing grade. Those are not the numbers of a player surviving entirely on his reputation. Clowney would not need to carry Minnesota's defense or play every snap. He could be used as an experienced rotational weapon while Turner develops into the featured starter. His power, versatility, and familiarity with different defensive fronts would give Brian Flores another piece to move around. Still, the Vikings must decide how aggressively they want to pursue him. They cannot allow one missed veteran signing to create panic, but they also cannot pretend this group has unlimited proven depth. Turner has enormous potential, yet an NFL season demands more than two capable edge rushers. If Clowney chooses Cleveland or the NFC West, Minnesota may need to explore another veteran quickly or trust that one of its younger defenders is ready to make a dramatic jump. While the defense searches for reinforcements, the quarterback competition is producing the kind of growing pains that should have been expected from Kyler Murray. Alec Lewis has reported miscommunications between Murray and Minnesota's receivers as the veteran attempts to learn Kevin O'Connell's system. One example reportedly involved Murray throwing a go route when either Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison was running a comeback. That type of mistake can look terrible during practice because the quarterback throws into open space while the receiver turns in a completely different direction. It can also become a turnover in a real game, but context matters here. Murray arrived in Minnesota only a few months ago. He is learning new terminology, new timing, and the detailed adjustments built into an offense that demands constant communication between the quarterback and his receivers. Lewis compared the situation to Kirk Cousins' first training camp with O'Connell and Sam Darnold's arrival in 2024. Neither transition looked perfectly fluid at the beginning. That does not mean the Vikings should ignore Murray's mistakes. This is a real competition, and every miscommunication gives J.J. McCarthy another opportunity to gain ground. Murray's experience may give him an advantage in reading defenses and reacting under pressure, but McCarthy has spent considerably more time learning this particular playbook. If Murray cannot consistently communicate with Jefferson, Addison, and the rest of the offense, his resume alone should not win him the job. Away from the quarterback spotlight, tight end Gavin Bartholomew is quietly becoming one of training camp's most interesting stories. Bartholomew missed his entire rookie season because of a back injury, after Minnesota selected him in the 6th round. Now, healthy, he is finally giving the Vikings an opportunity to evaluate what they actually drafted. Will Regatz reported that Bartholomew caught multiple passes from McCarthy during Wednesday's practice, while Lewis praised 2 impressive catches over the middle and noted how well the young tight end moved. Bartholomew is competing for the TE3 position, but his place on the roster is not guaranteed. A late-round selection who loses his entire rookie year can disappear from an organization's plans very quickly. That makes every healthy practice important. If Bartholomew continues catching the football consistently and proves he can handle his blocking responsibilities, he could turn a forgotten roster battle into a legitimate role. If he fails to make the 53-man roster, Minnesota may want him back on the practice squad, although that would expose him to being signed by another team. Right now, he is giving the Vikings a reason to keep watching. Aaron Jones has now provided one of the clearest explanations of how Minnesota's quarterback competition is affecting the entire offense. During an appearance on Good Morning Football, Jones said both Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy bring tremendous energy to the battle. More importantly, he explained that the competition is forcing every player around them to raise his own standard. Receivers, running backs, and tight ends do not want to drop a pass from one quarterback and catch the same opportunity from the other, because that could unfairly influence how each performance is evaluated. The players want both candidates to receive an equal opportunity, and that means everyone must execute at his highest level, regardless of who is taking the snap. Jones did not declare a favorite, but his description of the differences between the quarterbacks was revealing. Murray owns the obvious advantage in overall NFL experience. He has played at a high level, faced nearly every defensive look, and handled the pressure of being a franchise quarterback. McCarthy is still developing that experience. However, Jones believes last season's repetitions made a major difference for the young quarterback. McCarthy returned with a deeper command of the playbook, an improved ability to line up his teammates, and a stronger understanding of the responsibilities required at the position. Jones said that growth was already visible during organized team activities and that McCarthy has clearly taken a step forward. That matters because this battle should not be decided by name recognition. Murray may be the more accomplished quarterback, but McCarthy's time inside O'Connell's system gives him a legitimate advantage that cannot be dismissed. Justin Jefferson offered a similar perspective. Jefferson said he is seeing improvement, great plays, and plenty of learning from both quarterbacks. Whoever wins the job will also have valuable support from Jones in the backfield. Last season, the veteran rushed 132 times for 548 yards and 2 touchdowns, while averaging 4.2 yards per attempt. He added 28 receptions for 199 yards and another score. Those numbers may not dominate headlines, but his versatility helps a quarterback by providing a reliable option in the running game and underneath as a receiver. The most encouraging part of Jones' comments is that McCarthy is not merely surviving against an established veteran. He is using his knowledge of the offense to create a real competition. And every mistake Murray makes gives McCarthy another chance to prove that this team may already have its answer. Minnesota's training camp is beginning to reveal the true shape of this roster. Caleb Banks is healthy, earning first-team repetitions and giving the defensive line a potentially transformative young presence. The possible loss of Jadeveon Clowney would leave questions on the edge, but Dallas Turner now has the opportunity to prove he can handle a featured role. At quarterback, Murray's experience remains valuable, yet McCarthy's command of the system is making this battle much closer than many expected. Now I want your final answer. Who should start Week 1, Kyler Murray or J.J. McCarthy? Leave your choice in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and, as always, stay tuned. Skol Vikings, let's go.